Okay, so you want to make $1 million.
In a weekend.
Yeah, in a weekend.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of impossible, Rack.
Yeah.
Like, is that even
Yeah, it's ambitious, right?
possible?
Definitely ambitious.
But that's what this book that we're going to dive into today is all about.
$1 Million Weekend.
$1 Million Weekend by Noah Kagan.
By Noah Kagan.
And so we actually read a breakdown of it.
Yeah, a summary.
Yeah, a really good summary of it.
Yeah.
And it brought up some really interesting points.
It did.
And, you know, as learners who are always, you know, kind of try to figure out, like, what's the best way to approach things.
Absolutely.
This book really kind of shakes things up.
It does. It kind of turns the typical approach on its head.
Yeah.
Because instead of spending months or even years planning and perfecting,
Right.
it's all about getting your idea out there fast.
And I think that's a really key takeaway from what we read, right? Like, that's like the first thing that you're like, oh, wow.
It's about action.
Yeah, like, start now.
That's one of Kagan's big things. Is
Yeah.
Forget perfect timing.
Right.
Just take action and adjust as you go.
And as a learner, like, that's kind of scary.
I can see that.
Okay.
Yeah, because you want to, like, learn everything you can and research everything before you, like, put yourself out there.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to make, like, a big mistake.
Sure.
So how does he address that, like, that fear of, like, jumping in too quickly?
Well, one of the things he emphasizes is finding your audience.
Okay.
Like, before you even start building anything,
Okay.
you need to know who you're building it for.
Makes sense.
And the best way to do that is to actually talk to real people.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, don't just make assumptions.
Got it.
Get out there and talk to your potential customers.
So find your audience first.
Yeah. And
then
understand their problems.
Yeah. What are they struggling with?
Exactly. Because if you can identify those pain points,
Right.
then you can start to think about solutions.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say you've done that. You've identified the problem.
Right.
You found your audience.
Yeah.
What's next?
Now comes the really interesting part.
Okay.
Sell first.
Wait.
Build later.
That sounds backwards.
I know, right?
Okay. So explain this.
Okay. So Kagan is a huge believer in pre-selling.
Pre-selling.
So basically,
Before you even have a product.
yeah, you're essentially selling the concept of your product or service before you've actually created it.
Okay. But how does that even work? Like, what if you can't deliver?
So I know it sounds risky.
Yeah.
But the idea is that by pre-selling,
Right.
you're validating your idea.
Okay.
You're proving that there's actual demand for it.
Interesting.
Because if people are willing to pay for it
Right.
before it even exists.
Then you know you're onto something.
Exactly. And you're also minimizing your risk.
Right. Because you're not wasting time and money
Exactly.
building something that nobody wants.
You got it.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a really smart strategy.
It is really smart. And the book, the summary that we read, even gave a really great example.
Yeah, they talked about how Kagan himself actually pre-sold a course and made thousands of dollars.
Before even creating it.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
And there are a bunch of other examples in there too, right?
Yeah.
Of people who use this method to make a ton of money.
Yeah. They had some really inspiring success stories.
Yeah, like 6 figures in a weekend.
Yeah, some pretty incredible results.
Crazy.
And you know what's interesting is this whole launch fast, iterate approach.
Yeah.
We see it all the time in the tech world.
Oh, totally.
Like, think about companies like Airbnb or Dropbox.
Yeah.
They started with really basic versions of their products,
Right.
got them in front of users.
And then just kept improving them based on feedback.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this isn't just some, like, crazy idea.
Yeah.
It's a proven method.
And, you know, speaking of proven methods, you know, this all sounds really amazing and inspiring, but the summary that we read also brought up a really important point.
Like, does this approach work for everyone?
Right, because obviously not every business can be launched in a weekend.
Yeah, like what if you're, you know, in a heavily regulated industry?
Yeah, or if you're creating a product that requires a lot of testing and development.
Yeah.
Like a medical device or something.
All right, exactly.
So yeah, I think the key takeaway here is that while the speed over perfection mindset is incredibly valuable, you need to apply it thoughtfully.
You can't just like blindly rush to launch anything.
Exactly. You need to consider the specifics of your business.
Yeah, your industry, your product.
All of that.
Right.
But for our listener, especially, you know, you who loves to learn and plan.
Right.
This book is a great reminder that action is ultimately the key.
Like you can't just keep learning and planning forever.
Exactly. At some point, you got to take that leap.
Yeah, you got to get out there and do it.
Absolutely.
So to kind of wrap all of this up, this book, $1 Million Weekend, offers a framework for testing and launching business ideas really rapidly. Yeah, and getting that crucial customer feedback.
Right, and making things happen fast.
Yeah, and it encourages all of us.
Right.
Especially, those of us who love to learn and plan.
Right.
To actually put that knowledge into practice.
Don't just consume information.
Right.
Use it.
Yeah, make something happen.
Exactly. And on that note,
okay,
I'm going to leave you with something to think about.
All right.
What's one idea that you could pre-sell this weekend?
Ooh.
Even if it's just a concept.
I like that.
Like, don't overthink it. Just brainstorm.
Yeah. Just put it out there.
See what happens.
See what kind of response you get.
You might be amazed by what you come up with.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's our deep dive on $1 Million Weekend.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure.
And we'll catch you next time.
See ya.